Hey guys, happy Monday. I just wanted to hop on while my kiddos are napping and talk about breastfeeding. So hopefully a few of you will hop on because I'd love to answer specific questions and things like that. But I'm just kind of right now, like what I had planned on going over is just basically the basics of breastfeeding and like the misconceptions and the most common issues, I guess is a good word, because breastfeeding is hard. It's definitely not that easy, and for like the faint of heart. I mean, I guess with some people it comes easy, but most of us, it takes some getting used to, and it's definitely not super easy. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the pain. It hurts. When you start breastfeeding, it's definitely painful. You can get cracked nipples, you can bleed, it's tender, it's painful. You just had a baby too, so it's like just kind of multiplying the pain factor. So yeah, it's kind of brutal at first, and that's okay. It's normal, and I think a lot of people don't talk enough about the pain, and so people are kind of freaked out when it hurts, but it does, and it's okay. It'll go away, I promise. You just have to remember, it's new for you. It's not something that you've done before, or if you have done before, it's been a while or whatever, but you have this new baby, and you and this new baby are learning something new. So it's like anything, if you pick up a new sport or whatever, or if you're learning how to walk, whatever it is, you're going to fall, you're going to hurt yourself a bit at the beginning. So think of the same kind of train of thought with breastfeeding. You and baby are both learning how to correctly breastfeed. And it's going to take a little bit of time because yes, it's instinct for them to come to the breast and nurse, but they're not perfect at it. I mean, some kids, latch on perfectly and they're beasts, and that's great, but it's still going to hurt you. So, it's a two-party thing, and it's going to be painful for you, and it's going to take some time for the little one to get used to. So it will go away though. It gets better, I promise. So that's the first thing is pain. Ouch, right? It hurts. The second thing is latch. So I remember, even with my second, since my first had such a terrible time breastfeeding, it's kind of like nerve-wracking when you start breastfeeding. You don't know are they latching correctly? Is this how it's supposed to feel? Is this right? You don't really know because it's so new to you, and not everyone has people in their family that have breastfed and have a support system. So you don't have a ton of people around you to tell you, yeah, that's normal, it's okay. So it's weird at first, and you're not really sure if they're latching correctly. And I don't know about you, but it's weird. Like when you become a mom, right, it's already this kind of like loss of privacy when you give birth. It's just like, here's everything for the world to see. And then when you breastfeed, it's like your breasts get manhandled. And it's like such a weird experience. I don't know if anyone could relate to me, but it was really like, it was overwhelming. It was weird. So you're doing this new thing that you don't really know if you're doing right. And then people are just like grabbing your boobs. And anyways, it's a lot to get used to at the beginning. But anyway, so latch is a hard thing for a lot of people. So not everyone is great. Not everyone's babies are great at latching. Both my kids were terrible at latching. Both my kids had lip and tongue ties. So if your child isn't latching correctly, in a perfect latch, they should be, both upper and bottom lips should be flipped, kind of like that, so they can create suction. And so if they have a lip tie, it causes the lip to tuck under like that, or just stay flat, and they can't create the right suction that they need to pull the milk out. And then if they have a tongue tie, that's another issue where they can't lift the tongue correctly to the top of the roof of the mouth and pull the milk out as they're sucking. So it's like a two-part process. So ties, cause issues for a lot of people, not a lot of people, but for people. It's becoming more and more common that kids are getting lip and tongue ties. So if you're having a latch issue, that's definitely something like I recommend everyone to have a lactation consultant or go to a breastfeeding support group to get help with, because a latch is it's crucial to having a successful breastfeeding relationship, or at least getting worked on. It doesn't have to be perfect. My youngest still doesn't have the perfect latch. His lip is still pretty stubborn, even though we got it revised. But we're 13 months strong. So latch is a huge issue, right? So that's number 2. And then number 3 is the constant nursing. So I definitely was not prepared for how much the baby is on your boob. I don't know about you, but I definitely wasn't prepared for it. I was really shocked, actually. And then since my first experience with breastfeeding didn't go well, I constantly questioned myself, do I have enough milk? Because my milk had dried up with my first, after a bunch of issues that I'll go into, in my personal story. But so you second guess yourself a lot of times, because so many babies are formula fed, and so they just get fed every few hours. And so people find it very strange when a baby nurses all the time. And so then people say, oh, is the baby getting enough, and things like that. And so you start questioning yourself because you don't really know what you're doing, and everyone else doesn't really know what they're doing. And so it just causes a lot of kind of unknown and fear and worry, because you're not sure if your baby's getting enough. So as far as the constant nursing, it's totally normal. The first 3 months of the baby's life is actually known as the 4th trimester. We as humans are the least mature out of the mammals to be born. We need someone to survive. Other babies are popping out and hunting, in the first, few days of life. And we're not like that. We require a lot of help still when we're born. So a baby, they don't just nurse for nutrition and food. They nurse when they're hungry. They nurse when they're thirsty. They nurse when they're tired, when they want comfort, if they're sleepy, a whole slew of things. They nurse for a lot of reasons. So it's not just for food. So if a baby is nursing constantly, I say awesome to every mom. It's awesome that they're breastfeeding, because they're causing your supply to be stable. So I always encourage moms to breastfeed constantly. I realize once you have multiples, it's a lot tougher just to lay on the couch and chill. So baby wearing is really a great way to do that. But don't be concerned or nervous if your baby nurses a lot. It's totally normal. The older the baby gets, it will, decrease their nursing sessions. My son is 13 months, and he still nurses quite frequently, depending if he's teething, if he's sleepy, or if him and his brother just got in a little fight over a toy. He'll want mama to nurse him and make him feel better. So it's okay. It's totally normal that a baby is nursing a lot. It's not abnormal. Your baby's not weird. Your milk doesn't suck. Whatever you may be telling yourself, that's not the case. I mean, yes, sometimes a mother doesn't have enough milk, but that's very rare to be the reason why your son or daughter is nursing a lot. The next thing people come into notice is, hey, Brittany. Yeah, my son still nurses a lot. When we're out when we're out of the house and active and stuff, and he's busy, he doesn't need me, and he's good. He only wants me when he's tired. But when we're home, he's he loves nursing. So it's really funny to see, the difference when you're out and about or if you're at home. But yeah, my son still nurses a lot. And it's okay. I don't mind at all. It's fine for me. It's definitely a lot different than my first experience with my son, when he only breastfed till 3 months, after a whole bunch of issues. But anyways, the next thing that people encounter is engorged breast. Thank you so much. I appreciate you commenting, because then I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself, and it's a lot less strange. So engorgement. Your first 6 weeks, your body is creating a supply. So that's why they say not to introduce bottles or binkies and things like that in the first 6 weeks, because that's when you're establishing your milk supply. That's when you're going to get the most amount of milk. So like after, you can kind of boost your supply and things like that, but your first 6 weeks really like sets the foundation of your milk supply. So you're going to feel engorged. It's going to hurt. Your boobs are going to be hard, and it's uncomfortable. And just to encourage you, if anyone's watching this and has just started breastfeeding, it gets better. It goes away. But that's just your body kind of trying to regulate and find out how much your baby needs, which is why supplementing is so detrimental to your supply. I know it's really hard when you have NICU babies and things like that. I know there's a whole bunch of issues that kind of go into it. Someone mentioned talking about it on another live thread. But you're definitely inspirational, Kareem. I love your posts. So I know a lot of things kind of come into it, and some moms are pressured to supplement, but supplementing is really detrimental to your supply. Some people can kind of wean their kids off of whatever they've been supplementing with and be successful. But once you start supplementing, you kind of go down this rocky road of losing your supply. So I always tell people, please, please, please don't supplement. Trust your body. Unless you really, really have to for medical reasons, it's best not to supplement, because what you're doing is, so you have to think this is kind of a supply demand kind of thing. So your baby tells your body, hey, I need milk, right? And he's nursing, or she. And then your body's like, oh, we need to make milk for the baby. So baby wants 3 ounces. My breast makes 3 ounces, right? So we're going to go back and forth like that. If you start supplementing one meal, let's say you gave your baby 3 ounces, you topped your babies off, or whatever people do with supplementing, your body doesn't know that your baby wanted more food. Your body doesn't understand. So yes, you could pump if you're going to supplement. So that is the best way to do it, like in the beginning if you have a NICU baby and things like that. Every single time you give your baby something, I recommend pumping and giving your baby your milk, obviously. But what would you do? I hope this answer, if this doesn't answer your question, let me know. If you have to give your baby milk, then I would pump that milk for, let's say your baby needs 2 extra ounces, pump the extra 2 ounces if you just supplement it, and then freeze that or whatever. But you want to continue that demand on your body, so your body knows, oh, hey, baby was still hungry. I need to make more milk. Because if you're supplementing and not stimulating your breast and telling your breast to produce more milk, it doesn't understand. It doesn't know, and it's not going to produce that extra milk. So what you're going to do is your baby is going to be getting used to this much milk, and your body's only making, let's say, 75% of that. And then you're going to start supplementing more because, oh, your baby's growing and your breast is still not getting that extra stimulation. So after a while, your body's going to produce less and less and less milk, the less demand there is by nursing or pumping, and then you're going to have to supplement more and more and more. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question, Chemo? If not, I can elaborate more. But you have to be creating that demand if you're going to supplement, and I recommend supplementing with your own milk if possible. I personally don't respond to the breast pump. I get like an ounce, if I'm lucky. So I just pump for a long amount of time, even if I'm not getting the milk, but it's that demand that you're creating. And you can hand express. Some people respond better to hand express or the manual pump. But you want to create that demand on your body. So that was the next one that I just went on a tangent, but that was basically on engorgement. And then kind of to go off of that, later on when you're breastfeeding longer, your breasts are not going to be engorged anymore and as hard or as full. Like before, baby hadn't eaten for, let's say 2 hours or whatever, and my breasts were hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to nurse. And you feel like this pressure, like you have to get the milk out. I experience that less and less and less unless I'm gone for a long period of time. But I don't experience that anymore. My breasts are now soft, and that's just because they've gotten used to this, and they're used to it, and the supply is established. So I don't, have engorgement or hard breast, or I don't feel it filling anymore. Those kind of things that you kind of look for at the beginning. For me, it was like reassurance that, oh, my body's got this. Like, yes, I am making milk, and yes, I'm making enough. Because in my mind, when they were hard or full, there was a ton in there, which is not really true because your breasts are always making milk, but it helped me and it reassured me. But I don't experience that anymore. Unless I would be gone. I've never been gone longer than like 3.5 hours from my youngest. So I haven't experienced it, but I'm sure if I went away longer, I would. But not to the extreme that I did at the beginning. So you don't experience the engorgement and the rock hard breast like you did at the beginning when your body was kind of getting used to the supply and demand sort of thing. So that's the next one. And then biting. Yeah. Biting is not fun. That's the next one, but it's totally, it goes away and it's okay. So biting, I've experienced it. My son bites. It's more like a teething thing. So they're getting used to their new teeth, and then, oh, this feels different. And then they accidentally kind of chomp down and bite you. It hurts. It sucks. Cancel. It sucks, and I totally can relate. But it's not worth stopping because you're afraid of their teeth and you're afraid of biting. It's not that like dramatic of a thing. If Josiah bites me, I unlatch him, I tell him no, and explain to him, honey, you're hurting mommy, please don't bite me. And then we try again. And he never like consistently bites me. It's like once every few months. It's only happened probably like 5 times. When he's getting a new tooth or something's going on. But biting, it does happen, but it's okay. It's not that terrible. I have just had luck by just unlatching my son and saying, Josiah, don't bite mommy. It's ouchies, don't use your tongue, not your teeth, and kind of just explain to him. And we haven't had a problem. So that's kind of like a fear I know a lot of people have, is like, oh my gosh, my kid's going to bite me and it's going to be terrible, but it's, really not that horrible. So the next one is supply. So at the beginning, so we're so used to formula, it's really become like detrimental to nursing moms. So what happens when your baby is born, they're giving them bottles, and a lot of times the babies are puking up the bottles because they're not supposed to have that much liquid. I can post an image in the comments when I get off, but the baby's tummy is so small. And I have like an image that compares it to seeds or nuts or something, and then it shows you in the bottle how many ounces can fit in their stomach. So a lot of times what people are doing is they're actually stretching out their baby's tummy by giving them too much liquid, and they're throwing it up anyways. So at the beginning, the colostrum, there's a reason why your body produces that, and it doesn't go straight to milk. God knew what he was doing when he made our bodies. So at first you produce colostrum, and it's like this thick yellow stuff. And it's thick because it's kind of like concentrated breast milk is kind of like the best way to explain it. So your baby's their stomach is so small. So the colostrum is filling, but it's condensed. So it's not a lot of liquid. And then later your milk is introduced, but your baby is still not drinking that much. So people have this misconception that they have to feed their baby, top them off, give them all this liquid because we've kind of educated them that that's the norm when it's not. So trust your supply. let the baby nurse on demand. That's why I don't believe in scheduled feedings and things like that, because your baby is the one telling you how much they need and how often they need. And just because they nurse 20 times a day or 30 times a day or whatever, it doesn't mean you're not producing enough. Again, breast milk is not just for food. It's for thirst, it's for comfort, it's for pain, it's for helping them go to sleep, whatever. Your breast is not just it's not a bottle. It's not just for food. So we have, in our mind associated breastfeeding with feeding, and that's all it is, but it's not true. Yes, that's an aspect of it, but your breasts are way more to your children than just a feeding device. So that kind of brings on my next point. A lot of people say, oh, your baby is pacifying on you and things like that. So I still comfort nurse. I comfort nurse my child to sleep. He always falls asleep on the breast, unless it's like in the tula, or if someone else has him, he always falls asleep on the breast, other than those kind of two incidences. And pacifiers were created as a substitution for the breast. So your baby does not have to take a pacifier. Don't be shamed because you want to comfort nurse your baby. That's how our bodies were designed. And there's a reason why your baby wants to comfort nurse and fall asleep on the breast. And it's because it's natural. Your baby only knows how they were designed and how they were kind of formed and trained, and to do things. So if your baby is naturally falling asleep on your breast, there's a reason. They didn't read a book or, watch a documentary or whatever, and they weren't taught to do that. It came natural. So trust your baby, trust yourself, trust what feels right. Yes, I completely can relate and understand. It's kind of frustrating and exhausting to always have your baby on your breast and always comfort nurse, and you just want sometimes, someone else to do it. And this is for the moms that their kids don't take pacifiers. Some kids take a pacifier right away. Some moms introduce a pacifier right away with no issues. I personally waited till 6 weeks because of my previous nursing issues. I didn't want anything to possibly interfere with nursing with my youngest. I'm sorry you feel that way, Melanie. It's definitely challenging. I personally love it, but so I waited till 6 weeks to introduce a pacifier. So for me, it was frustrating because I was always the one who had to put my son to sleep. For a little bit, he would go on these, short spurts of letting my husband put him asleep, but primarily 98% of the time it was me. And so I can relate that it's exhausting, it's demanding, you want to pee and eat and sleep and things like that, and you always have this baby on your breast, and it can be a lot. But I promise you it will pass. I promise you, just hold on, and you're going to treasure these moments, for the rest of your life. Your baby is only small for a while, and they only need you to the extreme for a while. So I just want to encourage you, and I tell everyone, baby wear. It's literally what saved my life. I just told my sister a few days ago when she asked me how it is to have two, and I said baby wearing is literally what keeps me sane. So it really has contributed to my success in breastfeeding this time around, as well as actually being educated and informed more and having a lactation consultant. Her name was Lucy, and she's awesome. Shout out to her. And so that really helped me. So, hey, Ashley, I'm not going to forget, I'm doing that kombucha live for you. I'm going to get around to it. But I thought I would talk about breastfeeding today because I don't really feel like going through the effort of making kombucha right now. So that was the next one. So yeah, it's totally normal that they're always on the breast. It doesn't mean your supply is bad or anything like that. So what I wish is every person that thought they had an issue with supply, I wish they would talk to people that actually knew about breastfeeding more, like a support group or a lactation consultant. The problem is we talk to people not informed about breastfeeding. So whether it's your pediatrician or a family friend or a parent or whoever, but that hasn't personally breastfed or know enough, because my mother-in-law, she's awesome. She breastfed her youngest 2 kids, but she didn't have the struggles I did. So even though she could encourage me, she couldn't personally help me. So it's not enough just to have someone that breastfed. You need someone that actually understands your struggle. So both of my kids were tied. So Lucy, my lactation consultant, she had children that were tied as well. And so she knew the struggle. So it's really important to be with someone who understands the struggles of breastfeeding, who have had a hard journey or can relate to your personal issues. So that was really helpful to me. I went into a Facebook group and things like that were educated in tongue ties and lip ties. And I went into support groups and I found a lactation consultant that understood it. And so all those things really helped me get past the struggles of having children with lip and tongue ties. So I really just want to encourage you, if something isn't feeling right or going right, don't keep it to yourself and beat yourself up. Reach out to people that understand it, whether it's a breastfeeding support group or whatever it is, but just talk to someone that actually knows what they're talking about, and don't just go to someone and say, hey, I think my son is hungry, and they're just going to say, okay, we'll give him a bottle. Yes, okay, that would work, and there's nothing against formula. As I said, my first was formula fed after 3 months, because I didn't have any more milk. So I'm not here hating on formula, but I'm saying if your desire is to breastfeed, then don't just listen to someone's recommendation when they say, oh, just basically give up and give them a bottle, because that's not helpful and that's not giving you, a solution to your issue. And it's just going to cause more issues if you start supplementing. So the next thing is some people run into mastitis and thrush. I personally haven't had either, but I know they both suck, but you can get past it. So mastitis is a bacterial infection in the breast, and you can either get, sorry, my eyes. You can either get antibiotics, or you can naturally treat it. And the same with thrush. Thrush is a yeast infection of the breast. So some moms and babies get it. So for both of them, for me, since I avoid antibiotics and things like that, I would recommend colloidal silver for the mom. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Rachel. I would recommend colloidal silver, raw garlic, coconut oil, and things like that, probiotics. And then for thrush, I know you can get Gentian, something like that, Gentian Violet, and it turns your breast and your baby's mouth purple. I know that is the natural way to handle thrush, other than obviously the other things I just mentioned. But basically, lots of skin to skin, lots of resting, and continue nursing. The same with clogged ducts. You got to keep nursing to release those clogged ducts and massage the breast. And that's about it. I think I went over everything I thought of. Does anyone have any specific questions I can answer in regards to nursing or struggles or things like that? I'm obviously not an expert, but I'm just very passionate about breastfeeding, and I've just been through some stuff with my kids. Oh, you can boost your supply. I didn't really talk about that, but you can boost your supply. You can do something called power pumping, which you can look up. You just do these back-to-back sessions of 20 minutes, 20 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off of pumping. I recommend something called Mother Love's Milk Plus tincture, nutritional yeast, fenugreek, but fenugreek can kind of decrease supply for some people. Oats, like oatmeal, those are off the top of my head. Lots of water, Gatorade, people say blue Gatorade works, things like that. So you can boost your supply. I think that's it. Other myths. People say that you shouldn't breastfeed past like 6 months. That's total crap. I don't have anything scientific to tell you. I could post stuff, but off the top of my head, it's just crap. Your breast milk changes with your kids. So, but for pumping, I don't usually. Not before you use it. You should just sanitize the parts between uses. So what I used to do when I pumped was like have a bowl of like hot soapy water, and I would throw like the flange and the middle piece and the I have a medalla, so the little white flappies, all in there, everything other than the tubing in the machine, obviously. And then I had like a brush that had like a big side and like a little side, and then you can clean in the little crevices and stuff because the milk is like sticky, and it's not. You should clean between uses. If you do it right away, I know some people like who go to work and stuff, they actually put their entire bottle and the pump piece in the fridge, so they don't have to sanitize between uses. So if they're gonna pump, they just put the whole thing in the fridge, which I guess is an option. I don't know how sanitary that is. I just know people do that. But I just throw it in hot soapy water and like let it soak until like the end of the day or whatever when I'm ready to clean everything. I know they do have like those sanitizing like microwave bags. I didn't personally use them. I just did hot water and soap. Was that your question? Did I answer it? But those little brushes are awesome, like to get in the little, because there's those little path thingies that are kind of hard to get into with the big bottle brush. So you need the little ones. And the one that's underneath, okay. They have like even smaller brushes, not just the one that comes at the bottom of the bottle brush. They have even tinier ones that I liked. Hi, Shiloh. She's too cute. I love seeing your baby pictures of her every single day. So cute. Does anyone else have any questions? Or any, I don't know, fears? Or they just want to vent? We can vent about breastfeeding. It's hard. Oh, covering, right? Do you guys want to talk about that? Public nursing, right? That was like totally nerve-wracking for me at the beginning. I'm really modest, so power to the mamas that just whip the boob out. It's not me. I'm really modest when it comes to that kind of stuff. I personally do the 2-shirt method. So I always have a tank top under my regular shirt, and I pull my shirt up and I pull my undershirt down. And so the breast is never exposed. And if I do wear something that I can't do that, so like let's say you were to wear like a dress or something like that, I would nurse in the Tula. Or just go in a room. But I nurse in public all the time. And I'm very passionate about that. But I just personally am too modest, personally, to just pull my boob out. But I support every woman that does. I can't think of anything else. We talked about supply and issues. And I know some moms feel like pressure to pump and put milk in a bottle because they want their husbands to feed their kids or like other family members. I've never really got that. And yeah, I think it's sweet that your husband can kind of, and family can kind of join in with feeding your child, but I don't think that's necessary. I don't think you should feel pressured. Your husband can do bath or, play with your baby or hold your baby. And there's plenty of other bonding experiences that your husband can do. It doesn't have to be feeding your child. It's really not that, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's not that sweet, of a moment. I'd rather hold my baby and sing to him or do bath time or something. So I really never understood the pressure that moms have to pump so their husband or families can feed the kid. I don't really get it. But that's about it. I can't think of anything else. Does anyone else have a question? I know there's only one of you watching now, I think, if this is accurate. Hi. I don't know who it's watching me. Creep factor. But if you have a question, you can ask me. I kind of went over all my little points, and then you can watch it once the live is recorded. But I don't really have anything else that I can think of. Breastfeeding's awesome. It's all about support. I don't have anything else to say. Someone else just jumped on. Do you have any questions that I can answer specifically? I can answer a little bit about pumping. Not much. I only pumped a little bit for supply things because I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't really have a freezer full. But I can answer what I can. I can answer about tongue ties and lip ties if anyone has questions with that. And you guys can always message me if you want. But that's about it. Okay, that's all I got. No one's got questions. It's going to be uploaded. It's going to be recorded, and so you guys can watch it from the beginning. And then if you have any questions after that, feel free to comment below, and I will answer them. But rock on to all you mamas looking or attempting or currently breastfeeding. It's awesome, and it's such an incredible bonding moment, and I love it just because every single time my son hurts himself, I mean, I don't love that he hurts himself, but I love that I can just pop him on the boob and he's good. Like, it's so easy. It's gonna be a really sad day when I don't have that just to kind of like rely on and actually like have to do more, but it's really nice now. Okay, that's all I got. Happy Monday, folks.